This is the story of a young man named Arjun, who was 24 years old and worked for a very strict boss in the town of Varan Hills. Arjun had no family, his parents had passed away when he was young, and life hadn't been easy for him. Every day, Arjun would earn a little money, come back to his small room, cook food, eat quietly, and go to bed. One night he made 4 flatbreads and some curry. But when he returned after washing his hands, he saw that one of the flatbreads was missing. He found it odd but didn't think much of it. The same thing happened the next night. And again on the third night. By then, Arjun had had enough. He decided to stay alert and keep watch. That night, he stayed quiet and kept an eye on his food. Sure enough, he saw the thief, a large, chubby mouse sneaking in to steal a flatbread. Arjun quickly caught the mouse. But to his surprise, the mouse spoke. "Brother," said the mouse, "why are you stopping me? I only take what destiny has written for me. Please let me have one bread." Arjun replied, "I barely make enough to survive. I cook 4 flatbreads to stay alive, and you take one every night. My life is already hard." The mouse nodded and said, "I understand. But I know someone who can help you, someone who can answer your questions and guide your path." Arjun asked, "Who is this person?" The mouse said, "He is called Master Dev, and he lives in an ashram far from here. If you go to him, he will show you the way." Arjun thought for a moment and then decided to trust the mouse. He took 5 days off from work and began his journey. On the first night of his journey, Arjun came across a grand house in a village called Nimtara. It was cold and getting dark, so he knocked on the door and asked for shelter. An old man opened the door and said kindly, "Where are you headed, young man?" Arjun replied, "I'm on my way to see Master Dev at his ashram." The old man's eyes lit up. "That's wonderful. I've always wanted to speak to him. Can you ask him a question for me?" "Of course," Arjun said. The old man pointed toward a quiet girl sitting near the window. "That's my daughter," he said. "She hasn't said a single word in 20 years. Please ask Master Dev when she will speak again." Arjun promised to ask and left the next morning. The following day, Arjun reached a snowy mountain pass. The path ahead was steep and dangerous, and he didn't know how to move forward. Then he saw a man meditating beside the trail, dressed in robes and glowing with a strange energy. "Where are you going?" the man asked, opening his eyes. "I'm on my way to meet Master Dev," Arjun said. The man nodded. "I've been meditating here for 1,000 years, yet I have not reached the heavenly world. Please ask him when I will be allowed to go there." "I will," Arjun promised. With a wave of his hand, the wise man used magic to create a safe path, helping Arjun cross the mountain. Later, Arjun reached the edge of a wide river. The water was deep and the current strong. He didn't know how to get across. Just then, a huge tortoise popped its head out of the water. "Where are you going, traveler?" the tortoise asked. "I'm on a journey to meet Master Dev," Arjun replied. The tortoise said, "I've lived in this river for 500 years, hoping to turn into a dragon. Please ask Master Dev when I will become one." Arjun agreed, and the tortoise gave him a ride across the river on its back. At last, Arjun arrived at the peaceful ashram of Master Dev, where people from many places had gathered to listen and learn. Arjun sat quietly among the crowd and listened to Master Dev's teachings. His heart felt calm and his mind began to clear. After the session ended, it was time to ask questions. But there was one rule: Master Dev would only answer 3 questions from each person. Arjun froze for a moment. He had 4 questions: 1 from the mansion owner, 1 from the mountain sage, 1 from the tortoise, and 1 of his own. He sat alone, thinking hard. His life had been full of struggle, and this was his chance to ask about his own future. But slowly he made a choice. He would give up his question and ask only the ones others had trusted him with. When it was his turn, he stepped forward and asked, "Master Dev, when will the daughter of the man from Nimtara speak again?" Master Dev replied, "She will speak on the day she gets married." Arjun nodded and asked the second question. "The mountain sage has been meditating for 1,000 years. When will he reach the heavenly world?" Master Dev said, "He will rise to heaven once he lets go of his staff." Finally, Arjun asked, "The tortoise in the river has waited for centuries to become a dragon. When will that happen?" Master Dev smiled and said, "The tortoise must remove its shell. Only then will it transform." Arjun bowed in gratitude and began the journey back. First, he met the tortoise and said, "Master Dev said you will become a dragon the moment you remove your shell." The tortoise looked at Arjun, then slowly slid out of its shell. In a flash of light, it turned into a glorious dragon. Before flying off into the sky, the dragon dropped a pile of shiny pearls at Arjun's feet as a gift. With the pearls safely tucked away, Arjun continued his journey. Soon he arrived back at the snowy mountains where the old sage was still sitting quietly. Arjun walked up to him and said, "Master Dev told me that you will rise to the heavenly world once you let go of your staff." The sage looked at his wooden staff, then slowly placed it in Arjun's hands. Instantly, a soft light surrounded the sage, and within moments, he gently rose into the sky, smiling with peace as he ascended. Arjun now held the magical staff, feeling its quiet power in his hands. At last, he returned to Nimtara and visited the mansion. The kind old man was waiting eagerly. "What did Master Dev say about my daughter?" he asked. Arjun replied, "He said she will speak on the day she gets married." The old man was overjoyed. He took a moment, looked at Arjun with warmth in his eyes, and said, "Who better to marry my daughter than you, the one who went through so much for others? Will you accept?" Arjun nodded, and the two were soon married in a simple ceremony. And right after they were wed, the young bride looked into Arjun's eyes and spoke her very first words. "You were the one who visited our home that night." Everyone was stunned and filled with happiness. Arjun now had the pearls from the dragon, the staff from the sage, and the love of a kind-hearted wife. All of this came to him not because he chased after it, but because he put others first. This story reminds us of something powerful. True strength comes from selflessness. Arjun gave up his own question to help others, and in return, life rewarded him with more than he ever imagined. Often we are faced with a choice, our needs or someone else's. But when we act with kindness and empathy, unexpected blessings find their way to us. Letting go of fear, pride, or bad habits opens the door to change. Helping others doesn't make us weaker. It makes us richer in ways that truly matter. So today, choose to be kind. Offer help where it's needed. And you may just find that the universe gives back in ways you never dreamed possible. Once upon a time, there was a wise man named Raghav who served as the chief advisor to King Vikram. Raghav was so clever that the king would never make an important decision without asking him for advice. His wisdom was highly respected, but it also made many others in the royal court jealous. One day, the king was talking with Raghav and said, "You are a very wise man, but your son seems to lack common sense. He acts in a very foolish way." Raghav was shocked and a little hurt by the king's words. "Your Majesty, what makes you say my son is foolish? What has he done to make you think this?" Raghav asked. The king replied, "Every morning, I go to the marketplace to talk to the people. Your son is usually there as well. I ask him the same question every day, which is more valuable, gold or silver? And every time he answers, silver." The courtiers around them burst into laughter. Raghav felt embarrassed. He didn't argue with the king but quietly returned home to speak with his son. When Raghav got home, he asked his son, Arjun, "My son, tell me, which is more valuable, gold or silver?" Without hesitation, Arjun answered, "Gold is more valuable, father." Raghav was puzzled and asked, "Then why do you tell the king every day that silver is more valuable? People at court are laughing at me because of your answers." Arjun smiled calmly and led his father to his room. He opened a drawer and showed Raghav a box full of silver coins. "These are the coins the king gives me every day," Arjun explained. "Every morning he places 2 coins in front of me, 1 gold and 1 silver, and tells me to choose the more valuable one. And I always take the silver coin." Raghav was surprised. "But why do you take the silver coin when you know gold is more valuable?" Arjun opened the box and added, "If I take the gold coin just once, the game will end. The king will stop asking me the question, and I won't get any more coins. But if I keep choosing the silver coin, I get a silver coin every single day. 1 gold coin is not as valuable as all the silver coins I have collected." Raghav's eyes widened with realization. His son wasn't foolish at all. In fact, he was very clever. Raghav smiled and said, "You've turned this game into an opportunity. Your wisdom is subtle and clever, my son. People may not understand it right away, but you are teaching me an important lesson." From that day on, whenever someone in the court called Arjun foolish, Raghav would smile and remain silent, knowing the truth. His son's cleverness had taught him that true wisdom doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes, the quietest actions are the smartest. Raghav realized that wisdom doesn't always have to be loud or flashy. It can be found in actions that are patient and focused. People who work quietly toward their goals often achieve the most success, while those who seek attention or try to prove themselves to others often fall short. The lesson was clear: true wisdom doesn't need to show off. It shines through in the results, not in empty displays. You don't need to tell the world your plans. Simply amaze them with your actions and success. Raghav understood now that if your actions are right, it doesn't matter if others call you foolish or crazy. The world often misunderstands real intelligence, thinking it's foolishness just because it doesn't fit their expectations. The story teaches us that success comes from staying humble, focused, and working steadily. It's not about impressing others or showing off, but about sticking to your path and letting your actions speak for themselves. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our motivational stories, please comment on what you learned, and do not forget to like and share. Till next time, bye.